Chapter 391, the third floor of the Tower of Desire. A showdown of fate. At this moment, Zhou Yun looked at the objects floating beside him, his eyes filled with emotion. Pengyun merchant ships are slowly regaining their former glory, carrying with them the innate divine and demonic essence, the creation lotus, and the primordial chaos energy. Those items that he once thought were out of reach are now gradually appearing before his eyes. It was even strengthened by himself. After this enhancement, the exchange tower now possesses 2 creation-level treasures. Zhou Yun's gaze fell upon another creation-level item, a blue-green glass bottle, about the size of a palm, radiating a blue-green jade luster. The surface of the jade bottle has 12 time-related engravings, resembling the 12 cycles of reincarnation. Zhou Yun reached out and took it in his hand. It was warm to the touch, yet it gave him the illusion of the changing seasons. Item: Xiuxian glass bottle. Type: Time Rule. Rank: Low-grade Genesis level. Effects: Accelerates the process of creation. On the night of each full moon, the jade bottle automatically condenses 3 grains of time sand, each grain representing 1 year. The jade bottle can store 10,000 years of time. Any excess time sand will turn to dust. Time sand can be used to accelerate the growth of spiritual plants, imbue treasures with spiritual energy, and refine elixirs. Time domain control can be expanded into a time field, altering the flow of time within a certain range, up to a factor of 100. This process consumes time sand grains. Living beings can use the time field for cultivation and combat. The Venerable Time can use this bottle to collect the water of the river of time and condense it into pure water that embodies the laws of time. Living beings can use this to cultivate their time Tao body and comprehend the laws of time. Details: the time sand glass bottle is a time-related primordial treasure. Living beings must use it with extreme caution to avoid suffering the backlash of time. Time sand glass bottle. Zhou Yun brushed his hand across the surface of the jade bottle, a complex look flashing in his eyes. The effects of this item are simply miraculous. He was even a little reluctant to put it up for auction. Any living being that obtains this item has a slight chance of becoming a supreme powerhouse on the path of time in the future. This is not an exaggeration by Zhou Yun. In Zhou Yun's view, the time sand glass bottle is entirely designed to cultivate those destined to obtain it towards the direction of the time Tao ancestor. In the early stages, utilize its effects to cultivate spiritual plants, refine elixirs, earn resources, and enhance strength. After reaching the immortal golden immortal realm, one will have the ability to enter the river of time. Then, one can use the third function to collect the river water within the river of time, extract the time law to nurture the time Tao body, and embark on the path of time. With such a world-class treasure as an aid, the speed at which cultivators comprehend the laws of time is unmatched by any other living being. It seems this item is even more effective than the myriad tribulations returning to Origin Pill. Zhou Yun thought to himself. After all, the time Tao ancestor is much stronger than the other Tao ancestors. Zhou Yun then shook his head slightly, feeling that his previous idea was too naive. Beings that can cultivate to the level of Tao ancestor must be extraordinary. Although the law of time is powerful, those who reach the Tao ancestor level through other laws may not be much weaker. I stopped thinking about it. Anyway, both the time sand glass bottle and the myriad tribulations returning to Origin Pill are creation-level treasures, rare treasures in the world. They're all his. Ha ha ha. Zhou Yun laughed excitedly, waving his hand and throwing all the items into the exchange tower. He picked up the teacup in front of him and drank it all in one gulp, then stood up and disappeared from the spot. Then Zhou Yun appeared inside the Tower of Desire. Walking slowly through the Tower of Desire, he looked at the figures of the cultivators on the first floor and nodded in satisfaction. An invisible aura of desire lingered around him, as if welcoming him, the master. After passing the second floor, we headed towards the third floor, which was not yet open. Most of the cultivators, under the influence of the aura of desire, had already become immersed in their desires and were unaware of Zhou Yun's arrival. Only a few immortal-level beings on the second floor discovered Zhou Yun's figure. There are people who know Zhou Yun well, and there are outsiders who don't. However, the moment they saw Zhou Yun, they all noticed the extraordinary aura emanating from him and instantly guessed his identity. Some people hesitated for a moment, then slowly walked towards the third floor, following in Zhou Yun's footsteps. They had already witnessed the strength and resources of Pengyun merchant ship. News of the 14th floor of the exchange tower has spread. According to Pengyun merchant ship's plan, the treasures on the 14th floor will definitely be more valuable than those on the lower floors. Unfortunately, their knowledge was limited, and they did not know what level of treasure the 14th floor contained. Zhou Yun looked at the grey mist swirling around the undeveloped space and gently waved his arm. The grey fog spread rapidly in all directions, and the space slowly unfolded. Those who followed behind widened their eyes, staring at this unbelievable scene. They couldn't create space so easily, since they didn't follow the laws of space. Normally, the only way to open up a space is with the help of the treasures contained within that space. Looking at the newly created space, Zhou Yun closed his eyes and fell into deep thought. Those who followed stood at a distance, holding their breath and not daring to make a sound, for fear of disturbing Zhou Yun. Everyone, whether they know Zhou Yun or not, feels a sense of familiarity upon first meeting him. However, with careful observation, one can detect the aloofness and indifference hidden in the other person's eyes. Especially now that Zhou Yun has completely merged with the Pengyun merchant ship, he is essentially a world unto himself, and he exudes a natural yet majestic aura. Suddenly, Zhou Yun slowly opened his eyes, a strange light flashing in them. He came up with a rather interesting way to play. With a slight wave of his arm, a grey mist appeared. Suddenly, 100 long tables made of obsidian appeared in the space. Each table was 2 meters long and 1 meter wide. There are 2 obsidian chairs on either side. On the table, 3 cards appeared on each side, and a stack appeared in the middle. Zhou Yun walked to one of the tables, turned around to look at the onlookers, and smiled. The third level of the Tower of Desire, a showdown of fate. Anyone want to give it a try? It only costs 10 million Pengyun points. Seeing the hesitation on everyone's faces, and that no one wanted to be the first to step forward, Zhou Yun continued. The final reward is the chance to enter the 11th floor of the exchange tower and choose an item. Upon hearing this, everyone's expressions shifted slightly. Someone immediately stepped forward. Please sit down. 2 people sat down at opposite ends of the table as Zhou Yun instructed, while the rest gathered around to watch, eager to see how this fateful duel would play out. After all, the reward is to go to the 11th floor of the exchange tower and choose a treasure. The 11th level contains a chaos treasure. They didn't even qualify to enter, let alone exchange anything. But an opportunity suddenly appeared before them. Not only could they enter the 11th floor, but they could also choose any item. Everyone perked up and focused their attention on Zhou Yun, waiting for the other party to introduce themselves. Chapter 392 Fateful Showdown. Rules Introduction. Zhou Yun smiled and looked at the 2 cultivators who were seated down, and asked them a question. Are you ready? The 2 looked at each other and nodded. Zhou Yun pointed to the 3 cards in front of them. Now, please reveal the 3 cards in front of you. Upon hearing this, the 2 revealed the cards in front of them. They are a giant golden eye, a black scale, and a rainbow coral. Zhou Yun's voice rang out at this moment. The 3 cards represent the glimpse of fate, the transference of fate, and the abyss of desire. You can use these 3 abilities in every game. However, once you've used one of these cards, you must also use the other 2 in this round. The others frowned, not quite understanding Zhou Yun's meaning. Why must all 3 cards be used? The 2 people at the table nodded. The effects had already appeared in their minds when they touched the cards. Fate Peak. During the game, you can see the cards on the table. Fate Transfer. If you make a wrong choice, you can pass the blame to your opponent. Abyss of Desire. Drag your opponent into a sea of desire, causing them to lose their composure and miss a chance to make a choice. After looking at the effects of the 3 cards, the 2 frowned slightly and looked at the stack of cards in the middle. I have some guesses about how the game will play next. Please deposit 10 million Pengyun points, and the game will officially begin. The two cultivators took out the Black Tower token and, following the instructions, invested 10 million Pengyun points. Immediately, a faint black light emanated from around the table, and a thin black protective shield enveloped the area. Outsiders can observe, but their voices cannot enter and affect the players. With a smile, Zhou Yun reached out and grabbed at the air. The stack of cards in the middle of the table flipped in mid-air and flew towards Zhou Yun's palm. Zhou Yun's palm flashed with spiritual power, scrambling all the cards. At this moment, Zhou Yun's voice slowly rang out. There are 12 cards here, and you have 12 chances in each game. You have 10 health points per round, and you can see in front of you. The two looked at the table in front of them and saw that there were indeed 10 red stars. They then looked up at Zhou Yun again. The match ends, and the side with more life points wins and accumulates 1 destiny point. When you accumulate 10 destiny points, you can unlock a destiny choice opportunity, and the chaos treasure you want is among them. Let the game begin, Zhou Yun announced directly. All explanations are less effective than letting them experience a game themselves. After playing it once, they will naturally understand the rules. A card flew out from Zhou Yun's palm and hovered above the table. The players could only see the back of the card. Please select yes or no. Not only the players, but also the onlookers outside, were filled with doubt. What does this mean? It looks like a choice. What would happen if we had to choose? Let's wait and see. The reward is a chaos spiritual treasure, so it definitely won't be that simple. Yes, chaos treasures are not common even on Pengyun merchant ships, so how could we obtain them so easily? The two players pondered for a moment. Looking at the virtual button that appeared on the desktop, I selected Want on the right. The cards above the table shone with a black light, then flipped over, revealing a black tower pattern. Upon seeing this, the two felt a chill in their hearts, a bad premonition rising within them. Boom! Black lightning shot straight towards the two of them. Their faces turned pale, and fear appeared in their eyes, but they were unable to dodge it and could only let the black lightning strike into their hearts. After a long while, the two shook their heads. The excruciating pain of their souls being torn apart felt incredibly real. Fortunately, it was all an illusion and did not cause them any real harm. Even so, they don't want to go through it again. Furthermore, they discovered that one of the 10 red hearts in front of them was shattered, and its light had dimmed. They all knew they had made the wrong choice and lost a part of their lives. The other onlookers nodded secretly, a thoughtful look flashing in their eyes, gradually understanding how this fateful duel was played. It's pretty simple. Continue, please select. Zhou Yun's voice rang out, and another card flew out, hovering in the air above the table. This time, the two did not make a choice immediately. After hesitating for a moment, one of them directly chose no, while the other activated their Fate Gaze ability. The golden giant eye card in front of him shattered with a crash, and a golden vertical eye condensed in front of him, radiating an inexplicable pressure. The monk looked through his golden vertical eye at the cards hanging above the table. The cards, which had previously appeared to be shrouded in mystery, gradually became transparent, allowing the cultivator to see their true appearance. A hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. The other cultivators also saw the strange vertical eye that appeared, and their vision blurred for a moment upon contact. They had no idea what was going on. When the cultivator chose Want, the other cultivator's expression changed. He had naturally seen the other activate his ability, which meant that he had made the wrong choice. The card emitted a pure white holy light, and when it was flipped over, a graceful and pure white deer appeared. Yo! A clear and melodious deer cry rang out, echoing in the surrounding space. A faint natural green glow wafted down, seeping into their hearts and minds, sweeping away all their chaotic thoughts, and even clearing away some of the pent-up desire within them. Those who chose the right path had an even richer green spiritual light around them, their faces full of enjoyment, as if their bodies had been cleansed by the source of life. The shattered red heart in front of the cultivator lit up again. The other person already had 2 broken red hearts in front of him. The other cultivators nodded thoughtfully upon seeing this. The gameplay of the 3rd level of the Tower of Desire, the Fate Showdown, is not difficult. You only need to win 10 consecutive games and accumulate 10 fate points to get a chance to exchange for a chaos treasure. The match continued, but the eyes of the spectators kept flashing as they pondered how to win. A deep voice rang out from the crowd. Do you think we could secretly cooperate and join forces? Upon hearing this, the others looked at the cultivator with questioning eyes. The man smiled and raised his head. We'll cooperate. After you use the spy card, deliberately choose the wrong option, so that I'll have a little more life points. The cultivator finished speaking, extremely satisfied with his solution. What do you guys think? The other cultivators frowned slightly, and some even sneered. Fool. You actually tried to exploit the loopholes in the Pengyun merchant ship. I didn't understand before why all 3 effect cards had to be used in a single match, but now I do. The other cultivators were also taken aback upon hearing this. Yes, once an effect card is used, all 3 effect cards must be used. This means that the next 2 cards, Fate Transfer and Desire Abyss, must also be used. Chapter 393, the 3rd level of the Tower of Desire, Heart-Eating Thorns. Hearing the others chatter, Zhou Yun looked up and a smile flashed in his eyes. This was indeed to prevent cultivators from quickly obtaining 10 victories and thus gaining the opportunity to extract chaos treasures. The match ended, and one of the victors radiated golden light. Golden light slowly gathered around him, forming a golden 6-pointed star, which then disappeared into the Black Tower token. At this moment, cultivators can use the Black Tower token to check their accumulated destiny points. Once you accumulate 10, you can unlock the final destiny choice and have the chance to obtain the chaos treasure. Looking at the ecstatic cultivator, Zhou Yun reminded him, if you fail next, you will lose some destiny points. Upon hearing this, the cultivator was taken aback and gripped the Black Tower token tightly in his hand. The others, upon hearing this, also seemed to understand. In their view, this is the only reasonable approach. After all, obtaining a chaos treasure is no easy feat. Among the crowd, a cultivator asked, can we trade the fate points we've acquired? Zhou Yun immediately sensed the other party's ulterior motive and found it somewhat amusing. In a 2-player match, one of them will definitely get a fate point. If 10 people get together, they can exchange for a chaos treasure, but it's not that simple. The other cultivators also looked at Zhou Yun, knowing in their hearts that it was probably impossible, but they still held a glimmer of hope. You wish. Just as everyone was feeling disappointed, Zhou Yun's voice rang out again. However, once you accumulate 10 points, enough to create a chance to draw a chaos spiritual treasure, this chance is tradable. Zhou Yun still left a way for some cultivators who wanted to earn resources. After all, not all cultivators wanted chaos treasures. Perhaps they wanted Pengyun points more. Excitement gleamed in everyone's eyes. They could actually trade. This fateful duel only requires winning 10 times in a row, which seems quite easy. Everyone quickly dispersed and headed to other places. After everyone sat down, Zhou Yun rubbed his forehead, feeling a bit awkward. He doesn't have much time to stay here and waste time with them. After splitting into several clones, they left this place. Zhou Yun arrived at the top floor, where She was enveloped in a rich, 7-colored light of desire, and was deeply immersed in cultivation. By transforming the energy of desire and with the assistance of the Sea of Desire coral, Xi's strength is rapidly increasing, and she has now reached the tribulation transcending realm. As expected of the Origin Saint spirit body, the talent is indeed powerful. It seems I can only go find others. Zhou Yun glanced at Shi and left the Tower of Desire. Originally, he wanted Shi to temporarily take his place and guard the 3rd floor. It seems we have no choice but to look for someone else now. Zhou Yun appeared beside Elder Xing. Upon noticing Zhou Yun's arrival, Elder Xing bowed respectfully. Greetings, Master. Elder Xing, please find me a living being to manage the third level of the Tower of Desire. As for who guards the third level of the Tower of Desire, it would be more convenient to ask Elder Xing directly. Zhou Yun gave Xing Lao a general description of the situation inside the tower. In fact, the task was not difficult. Master, those little fellows often ask me if I have any missions, Elder Xing said with a smile. Now that they know you have plans, they'll definitely be very happy. You've also helped lighten my burden considerably, Zhou Yun said softly, waving his hand. Elder Xing naturally didn't take Zhou Yunqian's words seriously. Apart from the deer spirit, the creatures left behind in the eastern region were probably not favored by their masters. He understood why the other little guys were so enthusiastic. They were uneasy and wanted to create their own value for the Pengyun merchant ship. After a moment of contemplation, a ripple appeared in the void beside him, and a thick branch extended out, with 5 delicate red flowers curling around it. Like a rose, it has thorns on its stem, but what is most special is that the edges of its red petals have a ring of black lines. The 5 heart-eating thorns, who were initially at a loss, gathered around Zhou Yun upon seeing him. Greetings, Master. Zhou Yun glanced at them, his eyes lighting up. These few heart-eating thorn flowers are indeed very suitable for the third level of the Tower of Desire, as they mainly enhance their strength by absorbing spiritual energy and the essence of desire. In the Tower of Desire, the speed at which one's strength increases must be quite fast. Back then, Zhou Yun enhanced them all at once without checking their abilities one by one, thus overlooking these special beings. He looked at the heart-eating thorn that was affectionately staying beside Elder Xing and waved. Come here. Master, are you going to assign us a task? We will definitely listen. We can do anything. Several heart-eating thorns surrounded Zhou Yun, chattering enthusiastically. A smile flashed across Zhou Yun's face as he patted their red flowers. Do you know how to create clones? Yes, we both possess the cultivation level of the fusion realm, so of course we know how to create clones, the heart-eating thorns quickly replied. Master, what are we going to do? Follow me. Zhou Yun nodded to Elder Xing, then led several heart-eating thorns to the 3rd floor of the Tower of Desire. At the entrance, a machine and a teleportation array were set up. This is used for cultivators' lottery. If they win, they will be allowed to enter the teleportation array, which leads to the 11th floor of the exchange tower. Then I explained the rules of the lottery to them. 10 fate points allow for 1 draw. There are 3 golden eggs on the machine. Cultivators can choose any one of them and win a prize if they smash it. One of the soul-devouring thorns spoke up, asking, Master, isn't the odds of winning this prize too high? Do they know what's on the first 2 levels of the Tower of Desire? In order to seize the opportunity, they have a very clear understanding of these things. The other heart-eating thorns echoed this sentiment. Yes, Master. The chances of winning are too high. How about adding some more golden eggs, 10 in total? 10 is too few, 100. I think there should be as many as the stars in the sky. Zhou Yun found it amusing. These little guys clearly didn't want the other creatures to take away the rewards from the Pengyun merchant ship. This also shows that they truly regard Pengyun merchant ship as their home and consider issues entirely from the perspective of Pengyun merchant ship's interests. No need for that. This lottery opportunity is just the last hurdle. The real challenge lies ahead. Zhou Yun originally planned to set up 2 golden core stages, allowing cultivators to choose one. However, the chances are too high. 3 is just right. The most thrilling moment comes when a cultivator gathers 10 destiny points to draw a reward and smashes open their golden core. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. With only a 1 in 3 chance, if we let the chaos treasure slip through our fingers even then, perhaps all these cultivators will faint. Zhou Yun found the thought of such a scene amusing. Chapter 394 Phoenix Smoke Breakthrough, Clear Feather Breakthrough. Then Zhou Yun had these little guys split into clones to learn how to play the game. Once they learned how to do it, Zhou Yun's clone dissipated. After finishing everything, Zhou Yun looked at the 3rd floor, which was now running normally, and nodded in satisfaction. Looking up at the fourth floor, Zhou Yun hesitated for a moment before deciding not to open it. The main problem is that the beings that have come to the Pengyun merchant ship are not very powerful. The ability to extract chaotic spiritual treasures within the 3 layers is sufficient. Once Pengyun merchant ship has developed further and connected with more worlds, we will consider opening the 4th layer. Zhou Yun then left the Tower of Desire and returned to his residence. As soon as I got back to my place, I saw Lu Ling, whom I hadn't seen in a long time, sleeping in the courtyard. Upon hearing the noise, Lu Ling's ears twitched. Looking up at Zhou Yun's figure, a look of excitement flashed in his eyes. He sprang up from the ground and ran over. "Owner." Lu Ling nuzzled against Zhou Yun affectionately. Zhou Yun patted Lu Ling's head. He had been in seclusion for 100 years and hadn't seen her for a long time. "How is it? Have you completed the task I assigned you?" Zhou Yun asked softly, thinking about how he had asked Lu Ling to treat Lin Xiaoxiao. Lu Ling tilted her head back and said, "Of course, that little girl should be waking up soon." Zhou Yun didn't ask any further questions and played with Lu Ling for a while. Western regions, within the Holy Lotus sect. Xiuxian looked nervously at the figure in front of her enveloped in green light. The black marks caused by the backlash on Lin Xiaoxiao's body had completely disappeared. The pain was no longer visible on his face. According to his estimate, he should wake up in the next few days. Suddenly, a vibrant green light, brimming with life, surged violently and rushed into Lin Xiaoxiao's body. Lin Xiaoxiao twitched her fingers a few times and let out a soft hum. Slowly opening her eyes, a naive and lively smile flashed across her face when she saw the figure of the Blood Lotus again. Lord Blood Lotus. Barely managing to prop herself up, she threw herself into Xiuxian's arms. Smelling the familiar scent, a faint smile appeared on her face. A gentle voice rang out, "Lord Blood Lotus, I'm sorry to have troubled you." "No." Xiuxian stroked Lin Xiaoxiao's head, her cold face gradually softening. Perhaps only the girl in his arms could melt Xiuxian's cold heart. Suddenly, Lin Xiaoxiao noticed something strange about her body. He gently wrapped his arm around the Blood Lotus, a hint of doubt flashing in his eyes. Her arms seemed to have grown longer. She used to be unable to fully embrace them. Just as she was about to look up and ask, her forehead touched Xiuxian's chin. Lin Xiaoxiao's body trembled, and the electric shock-like feeling made her heart beat fast and her cheeks instantly turn red. After calming down, Lin Xiaoxiao gradually noticed changes in her body. "I feel like I've grown up." Thinking of this, her face flushed again, and she buried herself in Xiuxian's arms. A stammering voice rang out, "Lord Blood Lotus, how long have I been asleep?" "Not long, maybe 100 years." "Century." Lin Xiaoxiao exclaimed in surprise, pulling away from Xiuxian's embrace, her eyes filled with shock. "Century." Before she fell into a coma, she was just a teenage girl. "I just slept and I grew old." "Don't overthink it. Cultivators don't need to worry about time," Blood Lotus said with a smile. Looking at the smile on Xiuxian's face, Lin Xiaoxiao couldn't help but smile foolishly as well. Lord Blood Lotus's smile is so beautiful. Upon hearing this, Xiuxian's lips stiffened. His smile vanished, and his face turned icy again. Being cold can be very charming. Lin Xiaoxiao threw herself into Xiuxian's arms. Xiaoxiao likes Lady Xiuxian the most. Blood Lotus smiled helplessly. "Just woke up, get some rest. Take a shower and change into some new clothes while you're at it." Lin Xiaoxiao replied sweetly. Then Xiuxian summoned Pang Tuo and asked him to take good care of Lin Xiaoxiao. When Pang Tuo arrived, he saw Lin Xiaoxiao. Tears streamed down her face, and her sobs were choked with emotion. "Lord Xiaoxiao, you're really awake. You have no idea how worried I've been these past few days, how I've prayed every single day." Lin Xiaoxiao looked at Pang Tuo. "Long time no see, you've gained a lot of weight." "Well." Fat Tuo choked up for a moment, Perhaps I was too worried about the adults and could only relieve my emotions through food, so I ate a lot. Then, looking at Blood Lotus, he bowed respectfully and said, Lord Blood Lotus, I will take Lady Xiao down first. Go. Watching the two figures depart, Zhou Yun's lips curled into a smile. A sound drifted into my ears from afar. Lord Xiao, the Holy Lotus sect is now the #1 sect in the western regions. Lord Xiao. In the eastern region, golden auspicious clouds gathered, and the rich laws of heaven manifested, with a beam of dazzling golden light enveloping the golden divine phoenix. Huang Yan has survived the heavenly tribulation and is receiving blessings from heaven. As a primordial divine phoenix, it is naturally favored by the heavenly Tao and will receive the baptism of the laws. This will not only allow it to quickly stabilize its newly broken through earth immortal cultivation, but also condense the laws and spiritual power within its body. The phantom of the divine phoenix gradually dissipated, disappearing entirely into Huang Yan's body. Upon advancing to the earth immortal realm, his divine soul was strengthened once again, and he sensed a gaze coming from not far away. Huang Yan looked up and met Tu Yuan Tianzuan's gaze, a cold glint flashing in her eyes. Unfortunately, her opponent possessed the cultivation of a celestial immortal, and even though she had advanced to the level of an earth immortal, she could only barely manage to contend with him. After taking one last deep look, Huang Yan disappeared into the sea of mist. She will remember everything these outsiders have done for Qihuang Mountain. Qihuang Mountain was able to escape from the opponent not only because of the effect of the eternal green lamp and the lotus petal, but also because of Brother Pengyun. In order to lead all the creatures of Qihuang Mountain to escape, Brother Pengyun almost exhausted all his own essence and soul, and his Tao foundation was severely affected. He is still in a coma. A full recovery will be extremely difficult. Fortunately, the Pengyun merchant ship brought hope to Qihuang Mountain. However, the Pengyun points required to obtain the treasure to heal Pengyun were beyond what Qihuang Mountain could afford. Today, Qihuang Mountain has lost all its historical and cultural heritage. Fortunately, as long as there is hope, that's good. Now all the creatures of Qihuang Mountain are venturing into the Sea of Mist, which not only enhances their combat experience but also allows them to search for opportunities within the mist. As long as everyone in Qihuang Mountain unites as one, they will surely be able to overcome all difficulties. Meanwhile, inside the Luohe sword sect, a sword beam shot into the sky, as if splitting the entire sky in two. Countless sword energies, formed from sword intent, converged, forming a river that stretched across the heavens and earth. Qingyu stood with a cold expression, holding his sword, at the core of the sword energy storm. The river formed from sword energy surged forth and rushed straight into Qingyu's body. The lightning bolts gathered in the sky, and the might of heaven enveloped the entire Luohe sword sect. However, just as it was about to take shape, the celestial tribulation suddenly dissipated. The power of heaven and earth converged, and the spiritual energy within the Luohe sword sect's territory rapidly increased. Qingyu, who had just broken through to the immortal level, also quickly stabilized with the help of the heavenly Tao. Qingyu looked up at the sky, a look of surprise flashing in her eyes. Chapter 395 300 years later. The third floor of the Tower of Desire. I think I underestimated the heart of the Zhongjie River. Perhaps even the Lord of Pengyun underestimated the heart of the Zhongjie River. Looking up at the dissipating heavenly tribulation and the descending blessings, Qingyu murmured softly. Having merged with the heart of the town's boundary river, she is now essentially a part of the Xian Tian world. The heavenly tribulation would naturally no longer target her. It couldn't very well strike itself down. She only realized what was happening after seeing the heavenly tribulation dissipate. Moreover, heaven not only bestowed blessings but also used the power of heaven and earth to perfect the falling river sword sect. The only drawback of the Zhongjie River heart is that it deprives cultivators of their freedom, preventing them from leaving the territory or ascending to immortality. The world perished, and the cultivators perished. Furthermore, with the previous Xian Tian laws shattered and no hope of advancement in sight, the heart of the Zhongjie River felt like a cage. But now the Xian Tian cultivation world is gradually recovering. The cultivators live and die with Shen Tian, and Qing Yu, who merges with Shen Tian, will also obtain a heaven-defying opportunity during Shen Tian's transformation. Advancing to the immortal level is only one aspect. More importantly, Shen Tian is assisting in the improvement of the Luohe sword sect. Qing Yu slowly closed her eyes, absorbing the blessings of heaven and stabilizing her cultivation. 300 years later, golden ripples spread across the sky above the Shen Tian cultivation world, engulfing the entire cultivation realm. Strange phenomena appeared in various places. All living beings in Shen Tian stopped moving and looked up at the sky. Golden drizzle fell, bringing a long-awaited rain to the Shen Tian cultivation world, nourishing the Shen Tian land. A vibrant life force was born from this land that was gradually declining. A gentle breeze whistles, and spiritual energy surges. A joyous chapter is unfolding in the Shen Tian cultivation world. Within the boundless sea, a ripple spread through the void. Shen Hong stepped out and turned to bow respectfully behind him. "Thank you, Senior Huang Sui. I will always remember your kindness. Until we meet again, Junior." Huang Sui's deep voice echoed around. A moment later, Shen Hong looked up at the sky, and fine golden raindrops fell on his face. "Immortal level, here I come." Shen Hong roared to the sky. Then it transformed into its true form, a deep blue giant whale hovering in the void, spanning the heavens and the earth. Roar! With a roar, it plunged into the sea, sending huge waves surging outwards. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, and tribulation lightning slowly brewed, with the might of heaven enveloping millions of miles of sea. The tribulation lightning was fully formed, flashing with lightning, and the heavenly lightning struck down. Roar! Shen Hong's back was torn open, and even with the Shenming illusion whale's powerful physique, it was still difficult to withstand the heavenly tribulation. Tears welled up in Shen Hong's eyes. Compared to Huang Yan and Qing Yu, Shen Hong suffered terribly under the heavenly tribulation. Boom! 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 The waves surged, and Shen Hong's body tumbled in the seawater, the surrounding water stained red with blood. Grass! Shen Hong was so stunned by the lightning strike that he was speechless. Fortunately, with the help of Senior Huang Sui, I have a relatively deep foundation. Otherwise, I might not have been able to get through it. Boom, boom. Having survived the tribulation, Shen Hong lay stiffly on the sea surface, his tail stretching out to who knows where. Sweet rain fell from the sky, and the blessing light from heaven slowly repaired the injuries in his body. Roar! After recovering from his injuries, Shen Hong's body surged and disappeared into the sea. Inside the Pengyun merchant ship, Zhou Yun brought Yan Ji to the Tower of Desire. If you want to obtain the Eternal Sun, besides the auction 10,000 years from now, only the Tower of Desire can help you achieve it. Thank you for your help, young Master Zhou. After entering the Tower of Desire, Yan Ji discovered that the third floor only allowed her to draw chaos treasures, so she immediately went to find Zhou Yun. However, Zhou Yun doesn't appear often. She has been waiting in Peach Blossom Paradise for 300 years. She finally got what she'd been waiting for. Let's go. As I passed the third floor, I heard the voices of the cultivators discussing something. Someone else has collected 10 destiny points over there. Let's go check it out. Is he planning to trade it to Muyun Pavilion, or will he take it for himself? He drew it himself. It seems to be a powerful immortal. Oh, you're smoking it yourself? Let's go check it out together. Over the years, I have collected enough fate points on the 3 levels of the Tower of Desire a total of 3 times. The first 2 failed to win the prize, and the third person seemed to be scared and sold it directly to Muyun Pavilion. To this day, the drawing qualification is still displayed in the most prominent place in the Muyun Pavilion store. Zhou Yun stopped and looked toward the place where the cultivators had gathered. You shouldn't be in a hurry. Zhou Yun didn't give Yan Ji a chance to speak and walked towards the lottery area. Let's go and see what's going on. Wasn't the reason he set up this lottery system in the first place to add some fun? He hasn't even seen it yet. Yan Ji was quite helpless. She was very anxious. How could she not be anxious? All she wanted was the eternal sun, to bring it back to the Firefeather realm and free it from the control of the upper realm. Unfortunately, she didn't dare to disturb Zhou Yun and could only follow silently. The heart-eating thorn stood in front of the sampling machine. Guest, simply insert the Black Tower token. The cultivator looked nervous, and his hand holding the Black Tower token was trembling slightly. The cultivators already knew a great deal about this random inspection machine. The chance of drawing a chaos treasure is only 1 in 3. The odds are already quite high, but no cultivator has ever won the draw. As the Black Tower token was inserted, the machine immediately lit up with a 7-colored glow, and a light screen appeared in the void. 3 golden eggs appeared in the light screen, hopping left and right obediently. However, when the onlookers saw the 3 golden eggs appear, they were startled and subconsciously held their breath. The heart-eating thorn, sensing Zhou Yun's arrival, was about to come over, but Zhou Yun stopped it. At such a crucial moment, it was naturally impossible to interfere with the cultivator's lottery draw. Moreover, Zhou Yun also wanted to watch the excitement from the sidelines. The cultivators in front swallowed nervously after seeing the golden egg in the light screen remain still. Left, no. Then he reached for the middle button, but shook his head violently. No, that person chose the middle button last time and didn't win. Next, we come to the right. Or we could choose the right side. It hasn't been chosen yet, so the reward might be there. The monk's hand hovered over the 3 buttons, and fine beads of sweat dripped down his forehead. Those who were watching also became nervous, their hearts pounding in their throats. They enjoy this kind of exciting feeling. Of course, they prefer to see others not win the prize. If I haven't obtained the chaos treasure myself, why should others get it? They weren't just there to watch the spectacle. They were there to curse each other, gathering their thoughts and silently praying that the other wouldn't win. Zhou Yun watched all this and couldn't help but roll her eyes. Be decisive. Don't you know that hesitation leads to defeat? No wonder you guys couldn't win. Zhou Yun thought to himself. The cultivator in front closed his eyes, steeled his resolve, and slammed his palm down on the button on the right. It has to be this. I have a strong intuition. Chapter 396, the 4th floor of the Tower of Desire. Bang! The golden core exploded, and golden light poured down from the sky. A slightly regretful voice echoed from within the 3-story space. We regret to inform you that you did not win the prize. We hope you will try again. Immediately afterwards, a black tower mark slowly rose above the golden core in the middle, its surface radiating 8-colored light that spread across the entire light screen. After the light dissipated, 3 more intact golden cores appeared in the light screen. The cultivator who drew the reward was stunned, staring at the golden core in the center, his body trembling violently. My heart felt as if it had been emptied in an instant, and I roared to the sky in resentment and despair. No! Why are you doing this to me? I wanted to choose the middle option. I should choose the middle one. The monk knelt on one knee and pounded the ground repeatedly. The other cultivators who were watching the spectacle remained silent, but a strange smile flashed in their eyes. Seeing the cultivators in such a state, they felt completely refreshed and invigorated. You think you're worthy of owning a chaos spiritual treasure, even if you get to participate in a lottery? This process repeats itself periodically on the 3rd level. There were 4 chances to win the prize, but no one ever won. One person was so frightened that he sold his chance to win the prize. Sometimes, a question would arise in their minds. Is it really possible to draw a chaos treasure? Even for the Pengyun merchant ship, the chaos treasure should be an extremely precious item. Perhaps Pengyun merchant ship never intended to bring out the chaos treasure and was just deceiving them? Of course, they only dared to think about it in their hearts and did not dare to actually question Pengyun merchant ship. If Zhou Yun knew what they were thinking, he would probably just smile. Everything needs time to prove itself. Just like when it came to the 2nd level of the Tower of Desire, didn't some people think they couldn't get the immortal level qualification? Moreover, although chaos treasures are precious, Pengyun merchant ship now even has creation level treasures. They really didn't care about a few chaos treasures. All opportunities depend on your own efforts. If you haven't obtained them yet, it just means that your time hasn't come. A 1/3 chance is still pretty high. Keep it up. Zhou Yun thought to himself as he looked at the cultivators around him. Turning to Flame Princess, he said, "Let's go." However, just as Zhou Yun was about to lead Yanji to the 4th floor, the heart-eating thorns ran over. "Master, master." It cautiously stretched out a branch to touch Zhou Yun's arm, calling out affectionately, "Master, did you come to see me?" "Yes." "Guarding this place, isn't it hard work?" Zhou Yun asked with a smile and a gentle tone. Yanji glanced at Zhou Yun discreetly. It was the first time she had ever seen such a natural smile on the face of the owner of the Pengyun merchant ship. Even when Zhou Yun spoke to her with a smile, she always felt a faint sense of distance. The other cultivators who were watching the spectacle also noticed Zhou Yun's arrival because of the heart-eating thorn's actions. They composed themselves and looked at Zhou Yun respectfully. They were naturally very familiar with this rare lord of Pengyun. After all, if you come to Pengyun merchant ship seeking opportunities, you should naturally get to know the master of Pengyun. Suddenly, Zhou Yun heard the voice transmission from the heart-eating thorns. "Master, in these 300 years, not a single item has been drawn by any other living being." Hearing the smugness in heart-eating thorn's tone, Zhou Yun smiled helplessly. "These little guys are so cute. It's okay, actually I really hope they get selected." Upon hearing this, the heart-eating thorn trembled slightly, its flowers tilting slightly, not quite understanding Zhou Yun's meaning. "All right, I'm going to the 4th floor. I'll take a break if I get bored." "Okay." The heart-eating thorns ran away, and Zhou Yun shook his head with a smile. He definitely hoped someone would win, at least one item, so that everyone's emotions would be stirred up. Although he wanted to acquire resources, he also needed to offer some bait, otherwise how could he attract other creatures to come? If he really didn't want to be selected for the reward, he could have easily lowered the odds in the first place. That wouldn't be a choice between 3, but between 1 out of 300 million. The other cultivators breathed a slight sigh of relief as they watched Zhou Yun and Yanji depart. But when Zhou Yun was there, they all subconsciously felt uncomfortable. This is a primal bodily reaction, stemming from the fear one feels towards someone of higher status, or even the power to decide one's life or death. Someone in the crowd exclaimed in surprise, "Hey, look!" Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw Zhou Yun and Yanji walking towards the 4th floor. The group exchanged glances, a hint of hesitation flashing across their faces. However, driven by curiosity, they gradually followed in Zhou Yun's footsteps. The crowd that had gathered there dispersed, leaving only the cultivator who hadn't won the prize slumped on the ground, looking utterly dejected. When everyone arrived at the 4th floor, the 4th floor space had already been opened up. Like the previous 3 floors, this place also features hundreds of strange machines. They looked around and walked in the direction where Zhou Yun was. Zhou Yun naturally noticed the arrival of the group, but he didn't pay much attention to it. Since the 4th floor was going to be opened, he naturally welcomed them. Zhou Yun turned to look at Yanji. "The 4th floor of the Tower of Desire is very easy to play." Zhou Yun paused for a moment, looked at the others, and nodded with a smile. "You can listen in too, since there are no restrictions on the 4th floor. You can draw rewards of any grade, from the lowest 2nd-tier treasure to the highest creation-level treasure." Yanji and the others looked up at Zhou Yun with puzzled expressions. Seeing the confusion in everyone's eyes, Zhou Yun did not offer any explanation. Different levels of understanding lead to different perceptions. If you don't understand, it means you haven't reached that level yet, and the reward isn't for you. Any further explanation is superfluous. Everyone could see that Zhou Yun had no intention of explaining, and their expressions were somewhat disappointed. After entering the Pengyun merchant ship, everyone's knowledge was far beyond that of ordinary cultivators, but the Pengyun merchant ship's profound foundation still allowed them to encounter things far beyond their comprehension. However, he secretly memorized the term, Genesis level. "After we leave, we can go and ask around. Moreover, the news that one can draw creation-level treasures within the 4th level of the Tower of Desire is also a topic of conversation, and it's good to brag about it with other cultivators. I've prepared a vulnerability exploit for you this time, so look forward to it. Everyone was startled upon hearing this, but then a sense of anticipation arose within them, and they began to wonder about this loophole. Zhou Yun waved his hand, and a beam of light struck the machine in front of him. The entire machine came to life instantly, with thousands of stars swirling around, like a galaxy passing through the light screen. Everyone focused intently on the changes on the light screen. After the starlight dissipated, hundreds of stars of different colors and luminosities appeared on the light screen, flickering uncertainly. Chapter 397 Greedy Star C. 1% chance of winning. The 4th level of the Tower of Desire, the Starry Sea of Greed. Zhou Yun looked around at everyone and slowly began to introduce himself. Pengyun points cannot be used in the Greedy Star Sea. Upon hearing this, everyone looked surprised and puzzled as they gazed at Zhou Yun. Pengyun points were the universal currency of the Pengyun merchant ship, yet their use was restricted here. However, no one said much, knowing that Zhou Yun would explain later. A smile appeared on Zhou Yun's face. This 4th floor was where he would harvest his goods. He now needs high-level items to extract the hidden treasures of some cultivators. When you put in a Tier 2 item, there is a 1% chance of drawing a Tier 3 item and a 99% chance of drawing a Tier 1 item. When you invest a Tier 3 item, there is a 1% chance of drawing a Tier 4 item and a 99% chance of drawing a Tier 2 item. Zhou Yun turned to look at Yen Ji. The Eternal Sun is a mid-grade chaos treasure. You need to invest a chaos spiritual treasure to obtain it, understand? Flame Princess nodded. The surrounding cultivators also showed thoughtful expressions. They had figured out the rules. They were simply weighing the pros and cons internally. Although the Greedy Star Sea guarantees a 100% chance of winning, there is only a 1% chance of making a profit. Suddenly, someone in the crowd asked in confusion, "Can we use a low-grade 2nd-tier treasure to try and draw a top-grade 3rd-tier treasure?" The others' eyes lit up. They remembered the loophole Zhou Yun had mentioned earlier. This must be the loophole left. It seems feasible. Well, we can give this a try. It seems like there's a good chance of success. That's right. If you use a Tier 3 item to gamble on a Tier 4 item, even if you don't get a Tier 4 item, you can still get a Tier 2 item. That's right, choosing a 2nd-tier top-grade treasure might not be a bad deal. This is a complete benefit. Why would Pengyun merchant ship do this? Zhou Yun heard the murmurs of the crowd, but did not offer any explanation. His main goal is to acquire some immortal-level treasures. To obtain immortal-level treasures, you need to invest at least 9th-tier items. To obtain a chaos treasure, you must invest in a primordial treasure. If you want to draw a creation-level treasure, you have to invest in a chaos treasure. With a 1% chance of winning, Pengyun merchant ships can make a huge profit. Moreover, Zhou Yun can enhance the items that cultivators bring out, so it's a win-win situation no matter how you look at it. Can I participate in the lottery now? Yen Ji asked. Zhou Yun smiled and nodded, stepping aside. Of course, good luck. When people saw that someone had started drawing lots, they all gathered around. Although they wanted to participate, they decided to watch the excitement first. Everything was just speculation before, but now that someone is trying it for them, they are naturally happy. Yen Ji took out a ball of crimson light, within which flowed red Daoist energy. When everyone looked at the ball of light, it was as if they were seeing a world of blazing flames. Shocked, he looked at Yen Ji's figure shrouded in grey mist and fell silent. This is a powerful figure we can't afford to offend. Everyone felt a chill run down their spines. The higher the cultivation level of a cultivator, the more they can perceive the peculiarity of that red ball of light. This is not something an ordinary cultivator could produce. A strange light flashed in Zhou Yun's eyes. The origin of the fire elemental law, huh? Not a bad item. Yen Ji looked at the source in her hand with a complicated expression. However, he did not hesitate in his heart. His determination to extract the eternal sun was unwavering. However, she also wanted to exploit a loophole in Pengyun merchant ship. If it could be extracted using a low-grade chaos spiritual treasure, that would naturally be the best option. Zhou Yun noticed Yenji's doubts and explained, "Just throw it in directly." Then, turning to the others, he said, "I may not have explained things clearly just now. The machine will automatically assess the value of the items you put in, and then you can choose the grade you want to draw. It will then assess the number of draws for you, and the remaining amount will be returned to you according to Pengyun points." Upon hearing this, the others all frowned. They were increasingly puzzled as to why it had to be so complicated. Why not just use Pengyun points to extract the data? That would be much more convenient. Outside creatures naturally do not understand, because they are unaware of the development rules of the Pengyun merchant ship. Zhou Yun wanted all sorts of treasures, and high-level treasures at that. Upon hearing this, Yenji no longer hesitated and directly threw the power of the primordial law into the machine. A flash of light appeared, the light screen rolled rapidly, and finally came to a stop. 12 chances to draw. The number 12 appeared below the light screen, and Yenji's eyes lit up. He took a deep breath, his expression gradually becoming tense. Reach out and press the button, and the stars in the light screen burst into light, flowing rapidly and instantly transforming into a vast galaxy. Boom! The Milky Way exploded, countless streams of light flashed by, and a 7-colored star slowly rose. Yenji and the others were stunned for a moment, and then a look of disappointment flashed in Yenji's eyes. The others were shocked. They knew perfectly well what the 7-colored light represented. Is this a supreme innate treasure? It was obtained so easily. Have you forgotten the rules of the 4th floor of the Tower of Desire? Everyone was taken aback, their gazes sweeping over Yenji in front of them. The other party's calm demeanor meant they hadn't won the prize, which meant everyone swallowed hard. What the other party had taken out was a chaos treasure, and one that could be drawn 12 times. Even the few immortal-level beings were shocked. Although I had already sensed the other party's extraordinary nature through that crimson light. But now that they know the other party actually extracted the chaos treasure, they are even more surprised. The other side might be more powerful than they imagined. Celestial immortal, mystic immortal, immortal. Anyway, they are people we can't afford to mess with. Yenji quickly adjusted her state and clenched her fists tightly. With a 1% chance, it's definitely not something you can easily win, Yenji thought to herself. Zhou Yun stood quietly to the side, quite satisfied with the 4th floor of the greedy Star Sea. He obtained a chaos treasure so easily. Once he strengthens it, he might be able to obtain a chaos supreme treasure. Moreover, the fire elemental rules that Yenji took out were extremely pure, and after being recognized by the system, she actually had 12 chances to draw them. Perhaps it can reach the level of a superior or top-grade chaos spiritual treasure. If I'm lucky, I might get another creation-level treasure. Thinking of this, Zhou Yun became slightly excited. Yenji continued to draw, but failed to win a reward in 10 consecutive attempts. The expressions of the other cultivators who were watching the spectacle gradually became solemn. They discovered that the odds of winning the prize seemed quite low. However, I soon realized that this was perfectly normal. Opportunities are meant to be seized. If you don't invest everything, how can you expect a reward? After drawing all 12 chances, Yenji stood there, stunned, staring blankly at the light screen in front of her. I can't give up, I'm sure I'll win. Chapter 398 Tenfold Enhancement, Returning to the Origin Sea. Those watching from the sidelines had already quietly held their breath. This 4th level seems to be even more of a trap. However, a 1% chance of winning is indeed a very high probability. Zhou Yun smiled as he watched Yenji take out another item and put it into the container. Flame Princess chose to draw the chaos treasure. The light shimmered on the screen, and when the number 710 appeared, a collective gasp filled the room. Wow, 710 chances to win a prize. What kind of treasure did this senior bring out? I don't know, I don't understand. With such a treasure, what exactly does this senior want to draw? It should be exchanging one chaos treasure for another chaos treasure. Everyone was confused. If they failed to draw the treasure after more than 700 chances, wouldn't they be losing a chaos treasure for nothing? Even Zhou Yun's eyes flashed with surprise. His gaze swept across Yanji's face. This item must be the treasure that had trapped her before. It seems that the one-time use magic-breaking seal worked. A supreme treasure of chaos is in my hands. Zhou Yun thought to himself. This item can be redeemed for over 700 chances to win a prize, so its grade should be a superior chaos treasure. Even if Yanji takes the Eternal Sun, Zhou Yun will still not lose out. Moreover, Zhou Yun believed that with his own enhancement, he could most likely obtain a creation-level treasure from a top-grade chaos treasure. Just as Yanji was about to draw a reward, she noticed another button appear next to her, 10 draw. Zhou Yun glanced at it but didn't say anything. The system is designed to be quite user-friendly. When you have more than 10 chances to draw, you will get a 10 draw bonus. This is gambling. Whether you win or not, it's all in one go. 10 consecutive draws. 10 consecutive draws. 10 consecutive draws. The surrounding space was enveloped in a 7-colored glow. Yanji stared intently at the light screen in front of her, and fine sweat trickled from her palms. The onlookers stared with burning desire, for each 10 pull meant obtaining 10 innate treasures. Even if you don't win after 700 chances, you can still get 700 innate treasures. These are over 700 celestial grade items. It seems like this 4th floor might be worthwhile. So many celestial grade items. If I had these things to help me, I could probably become an immortal. I want to try my luck in the lottery. I hope I can win something. I'll go too. A small group of people, filled with excitement, walked toward the machine next to them. Only a few high-level cultivators frowned slightly, but were not stimulated by the immortal level reward in front of them. They knew perfectly well that the cultivator who participated in the lottery had initially invested in a chaos treasure, and even if he won 700 innate treasures, it still couldn't compare. Although they were only at the human immortal realm and did not know the value of the chaos treasure, the gap between them was undoubtedly as vast as an insurmountable chasm. Zhou Yun glanced at the departing people, then his gaze swept over the remaining crowd. Looks like the excitement wasn't enough. If Flame Princess could win the reward, these people would probably go crazy. Zhou Yun thought to himself. The 3rd level of the Tower of Desire is a battle of fate. Because no one has received a reward for 300 years, the enthusiasm of the cultivators has been seriously affected. Many people probably have doubts about Pengyun merchant shipping. Even though those people didn't say it, Zhou Yun had some guesses in his mind. Therefore, Zhou Yun still hopes that someone will win the lottery on each floor of the Tower of Desire every now and then. Only with a continuous stream of winners can the lottery attract more people. Boom! 9-colored light filled the entire space, attracting everyone's attention. Even Zhou Yun, who was standing to the side, turned his head and stared at the 9-colored stars in the light screen. The Milky Way shattered, and a single 9-colored star occupied the entire light screen. I won. I really won. Zhou Yun looked at Yanji's excited face, his expression somewhat complicated. The Eternal Sun seemed tailor-made for this spirit emperor. Wow. The onlookers were in an uproar, and those who had run out to participate in the lottery earlier all rushed back. Did you get selected? 9-colored divine light, a supreme treasure of chaos. This is such good luck. 700 chances. If you draw 700 times you will also win. The others were speechless. Yes, the other party had taken out a chaos treasure. Isn't it normal to draw a chaos treasure? Shall we continue? Upon hearing this, Yanji shook her head slightly. Take out the Pengyun Token and claim your reward. The stars swirled within the light screen, and the previously drawn rewards appeared one by one, transforming into starlight clusters that shot out of the screen and hovered in front of Yanji. The onlookers secretly swallowed their saliva, their mouths watering. Each of these star-shaped clusters of light represented a supreme innate treasure. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the 9-colored cluster of light, and they stared at it for a long time. Hundreds of orbs of light transformed into streams of light, one by one disappearing into Yenji Pengyun Token. Holding the Pengyun Token tightly in her palm, Yenji bowed deeply to Zhou Yun beside her. "Thank you very much, young Master Zhou." Zhou Yun waved his hand and returned the remaining Pengyun points to Yenji. "This is all thanks to your own luck. Go and redeem what you want." "Yes." Yenji turned around and hurriedly left. Zhou Yun watched Yenji's departing figure. This might be the last time they would meet. After glancing at the 4th floor and finding no further issues, Zhou Yun left the area. After that, just have Elder Xing call anyone to keep an eye on things. Back in the courtyard, Uncle Zhou was already waiting for them. As a cultivator's cultivation level increases, the time they spend in seclusion will also become longer and longer, but whenever Zhou Yun comes out, Uncle Zhou will come to see him. "Young master." Zhou Yun sat down opposite him and took the tea that Uncle Zhou handed him. Uncle Zhou's cooking skills are as good as ever. Smelling the faint fragrance of tea, Zhou Yun praised it. Uncle Zhou smiled and shook his head. "It's all because the young master's tea is so good." Zhou Yun was taken aback when he saw the tea leaves gleaming with a silvery white light. This seems to be the spirit tea he enhanced back then. It's now at the 8th rank. If left outside, it would inevitably become a source of enlightenment tea that attracts the scramble of living beings. While chatting with Uncle Zhou, Zhou Yun examined the golden item in his hand. This is a palm-sized golden array plate, mainly divided into 3 layers. Besides trapping enemies and binding spirits, its core function is to absorb the world's origin. Being able to absorb the essence of a world is quite a valuable treasure. Strengthen. Golden light slowly rose, enveloping the golden array plate. Zhou Yun was quite hopeful. This chaos treasure had been enhanced, and there was a high probability that it would become a creation-level treasure. Moreover, it's a formation-type formation. The formation has never been auctioned by Pengyun merchant ship. It wasn't that Pengyun's merchant ships didn't have them, but rather that the effects of those formations were too ordinary, and Zhou Yun felt there was no need to auction them off. Time passed slowly, and Zhou Yun's emotions gradually became excited. As the golden light faded, Xiaobai's voice came to my ears. "Congratulations, Master, on completing the Tenfold enhancement and obtaining the mid-grade creation-level treasure, Guishu Origin C-Map." Chapter 399 The Transformation of the Fire Feather Realm. Zhou Yun's expression changed. It was just as he had guessed. Uncle Zhou, standing beside him, also looked at the starry sea atlas, which floated in the void like a golden ocean. Zhou Yun waved his hand, took it into his hand, and examined it closely. The catalogue seems to contain countless illusory worlds, each constantly being shaped and reborn. Furthermore, countless principles of Tao are presented before our eyes. I casually clicked on the details to take a look. Item: Guishu Origin C-Map. Type: World Origin Rules. Rank: Mid-Grade Genesis. Effects: Returning to the Void and Devouring the Source. The Returning to the Void source chart can ignore space, time, and all dimensional barriers. It can extract the power of the fundamental laws of the worlds, large and small, from the past and future, and determine the life and death of a world in the unknown. The Origin C creation record and the Return to the Void record can deduce the development of the world. The power of the absorbed origin can be used to create new worlds, or to upgrade other worlds into great worlds, or even to develop them directly as one's own cave world. The Return to the Void transformation technique can purify the power of the world's origin that it devours, using it as a resource to enhance its own strength. Furthermore, through the baptism of countless laws, it can evolve itself towards the innate Tao body and body of myriad laws. Details: The Guishu Origin C chart is a perfect treasure that integrates devouring, creation, and storage. It can devour countless worlds with a single thought and create the universe with an instant. Zhou Yun's pupils contracted. After reading about the effects of this treasure, he thought of many wonderful uses for it. Devouring the origin of all realms, helping all living beings transcend. As Zhou Yun pondered this, he handed the Guishu origin C-map to Uncle Zhou. It truly lives up to its reputation as a creation-level treasure. It's just a formation, but even after being upgraded to the creation level, it still possesses the power to defy fate. If this item were to fall into the hands of a cultivator, it would undoubtedly be a divine object that would enable them to transcend. Similar to the previous time sand glass bottle. This kind of treasure with creative power can directly give cultivators the best cultivation physique, in addition to the effects of magic weapons. The path of cultivation is smooth. Within the fire feather realm, several cultivators dressed in crimson robes were bound to the spot by flames, with streams of lava flowing around them, trapping them like a cage. Upon seeing Yanji's figure, he immediately roared in anger. "Flame Princess, are you planning a rebellion? We are inner disciples of the Fire God Palace. Release us immediately. Are you going to lead the entire Fire Feather Realm to its destruction? Since we haven't received a reply from Chi Cho Divine Child for a long time, he will surely come down to check." Yanji glanced at the inner disciples of the Fire God Palace and then appeared beside Granny Lu Jiang. Granny Lu Jiang appeared in a phantom form, asking anxiously, "Lady Yanji, have you obtained that item?" Yanji nodded slightly, a complex emotion hidden in her eyes. Granny Lu was overjoyed, and the lava beneath her began to boil violently. The Fire Feather Realm is finally free from the control of the Upper Realm and no longer needs to be a resource-rich area for the Upper Realm's people, where it can be plundered at will. Yanji stood quietly to the side, surveying the entire Fire Feather Realm. She didn't tell Granny Lu Jiang the specific effects of the eternal blazing sun, only that it could help the Fire Feather Realm advance to the Great World and break free from the control of the Fire God Palace. After the initial excitement, Granny Lu Jiang noticed that Yanji's expression was unusual. She asked softly, "Lady Yanji, what's wrong?" Yanji gazed at Granny Lu Jiang and slowly explained the effects of the eternal sun. Upon hearing this, Granny Lu Jiang swayed slightly. How so? The price was too high, and it even required sacrificing the Spirit Emperor himself and 8 or 9/10 of the world's origin power. Grandma Lu opened her mouth slightly, but for a moment she didn't know what to say. If it were only a matter of sacrificing herself, she would certainly dedicate herself to the Fire Feather Realm without hesitation. It's nothing, Yanji said calmly. However, with this sacrificial ritual underway, at least half of the creatures in the Fire Feather Realm will be wiped out. And besides, Granny Lu Jiang, as a mother river of the Fire Feather Realm, possesses immense energy. She must have been part of the sacrificial ceremony as well. Grandma, with her flowing juices, had a carefree smile. I have lived long enough, born alongside the Fire Feather Realm. It is my honor to witness its transformation at the very end. Yanji stretched out her palm, and a ball of crimson magma light appeared, with crimson waves of energy spreading outwards. The temperature of the surrounding space rose sharply, and even the void could not withstand the temperature, so it began to distort and crack. Yanji was shocked. After leaving the Pengyun merchant ship, the power of the eternal sun had become much stronger. Is this the eternal sun? Granny Lu Jiang asked, her gaze complex. His gaze fell on Yanji, his eyes filled with heartache. Sensing the change in spatial temperature, the three trapped disciples of the Fire God Palace in the distance also looked over. Upon seeing that ball of light, which resembled the sun, a vague sense of unease arose in my heart. Yanji raised her hand, her fingertips like blades, and directly ripped open her own chest. The crimson gold blood flowed out, and the moment it touched the eternal blazing sun, it merged into the ball of light. Then, he slowly pressed the eternal sun into his heart. The next moment, she soared into the sky, towering above the heavens of the Fire Feather Realm. Her body was enveloped in crimson flames as she looked down upon the land that had both nurtured and bound her. A majestic voice echoed throughout the world. I, Yanji, the spirit emperor of the Fire Feather Realm. Now, with my heart as the sacrifice and my soul as the guide, I begin the eternal sun offering ceremony. All living beings of the Fire Feather Realm, are you willing to follow me to break free from your shackles, burn yourselves in flames, and illuminate the path ahead? The Spirit Emperor's voice echoed throughout every corner of the Fire Feather Realm. All living beings in the world, whether plant spirits, fire spirits, or rock demons, stopped moving at this moment. Then, the first wisp of flame rose from the distant mountain peak, transforming into a stream of light that shot into the sky. Then, the second, the third. The bodies of countless living beings gradually became transparent, transforming into pure streams of flame, like rivers flowing into the sea, converging towards the ever-shining eternal sun in Yenji's heart. Lady Flame Princess, I do. Grandma Lu Jiang looked at the scene in the sky and murmured softly. His figure vanished, and immediately the entire lava river began to boil. The magma that occupies half of the Fire Feather Realm and provides a habitat for all living things has stirred. The entire Fire Feather Realm trembles as a result. A colossal fiery dragon soared into the sky, roaring and dancing in the air, circling around the figure of Yenji. Grandma with flowing pulp. Roar. The fiery dragon charged straight into Yenji's body, and Yenji opened her arms to welcome the dragon's arrival. But he didn't touch anything, and his eyes gradually became moist. Heaven and earth were both dyed the color of crimson gold. At the brightest point of the light, Yenji's figure gradually blurred, but her gaze remained fixed on this burning and transforming world. What exactly is going on? Flame Princess, you've opened up to us. Qi Chao's body will not let you off the hook. The roars of the Fire God Palace disciples startled Yenji awake. Children of Crimson Hatred, children of Crimson Hatred. Chapter 410,000 years later. The Pengyun Auction. If it weren't for the Fire God Palace disciples speaking up below, she would have almost forgotten about the Crimson Hatred divine child. He flipped his hand and took out a red token, which was the very token confiscated from the disciples of the Fire God Palace. Flames shot out, transforming into a hand that grabbed a disciple of the Fire God Palace. What are you up to? The disciples of the Fire God Palace looked terrified, their bodies bound by flames, unable to move. Moreover, he sensed that Yenji's aura had changed, becoming much stronger than that of the divine child, giving him immense pressure. A cold voice rang out as the token was thrown in front of him. Send a message to Qi Chou, saying that something unusual has happened in the Fire Feather Realm. Upon hearing this, the disciple of the Fire God Palace was startled, but under the pressure and coercion of Yenji, he had no choice but to pass on the message. Time passed slowly, and a crimson streak of light flashed across the sky. Qi Chao's figure appeared above the Fire Feather Realm, and he saw that the entire world was dissipating its laws and converging towards the core area. What's going on? That treasure's ability to extract the world's essence shouldn't be this strong. Qi Chou looked at the strange phenomenon in the Fire Feather Realm and immediately assumed it was caused by the treasure he had brought. Suddenly, crimson flames gathered in the void, transforming into a giant red hand that reached out to grab Qi Chou. Who? Qi Chou was shocked and instinctively resisted, a ring of flames swirling around his body. However, this palm seemed to carry the power of the entire world, and the ring of flames shattered upon contact. A look of terror appeared in Qi Chou's eyes. The surrounding void was imprisoned, and there was no possibility of escape. What exactly happened in the Fire Feather Realm? How could such a powerful being exist? At this moment, Qi Chou realized that this was a trap that had lured him here. As the divine son of the Fire God Palace, he held an incomparably noble status. Who would dare to plot against him? Could it be a hostile force? Qi Chou wondered to himself. His entire body was imprisoned by the giant fiery hand, and when he opened his eyes again, they were filled with disbelief. Yenji! How is this possible? Qi Chou exclaimed in shock. That familiar figure, hovering in the void and exuding a powerful aura, wasn't it Yenji? But Yenji seemed so unfamiliar at this moment. What on earth happened? How did Flame Princess become so powerful? The other disciples of the Fire God Palace lowered their heads in shame when they saw the divine child's disheveled figure. Even the divine child was like this. They gave up resisting. If nothing unexpected happens, the Fire Feather Realm may be their final resting place. Yenji, calm down. You can say whatever you want. Chi-Cho looked at Yenji and shouted, I am the divine child of the Fire God Palace. I can make the Fire Feather Realm no longer a resource-rich world of the upper realm, and I can give the Fire Feather Realm a certain degree of freedom. Laugh. Yenji sneered. In the past, she had placed her hopes on Chi-Cho. But if they want to liberate the Fire Feather Realm, they can only rely on themselves in the end. Looking at the streams of flames formed by the creatures of the Fire Feather Realm in the void, a smile appeared in Yenji's eyes. Eternal Sun, I am never alone, for you are with me. Yenji looked at Chi-Cho. The Fire Feather Realm will become a great world, a world just like the Five Elements' great world. The giant palm in the void clenched lightly, and Chi-Cho's expression changed drastically. No. No. Bang! Chi-Cho's body exploded and was immediately burned to ashes by the flames, scattering into the Fire Feather Realm. The other disciples of the Fire God Palace trembled slightly upon witnessing this. A streak of flame swept past their bodies, turning into ashes that dissipated into the world. Yenji slowly closed her eyes, and the whole world seemed to rush towards her. The world is collapsing, and countless beings transformed into streams of light rush into Yenji's body. In the entire world, only one sun, which never sets, burns fiercely, as if a new world is being born within it. 10,000 years later, Xiuxian had completely changed. Now, Xiuxian no longer focuses on the central region. The eastern region is the true holy land for cultivation. Although the eastern region is extremely dangerous, powerful forces occupy a territory there and have even divided up the area. They occupied some regions with abundant resources. This naturally aroused dissatisfaction among the other cultivators. The killings never ceased in the eastern Misty Sea. Coupled with the restrictions of the Misty Sea, without a celestial-level expert to oversee it, any force could not survive in the eastern region. Moreover, it has undergone 10,000 years of evolution, plus the transformation of the Xiuxian. In the Sea of Fog, a fog beast was born. Born to blend into the Sea of Mist, although also restricted by it, the Mist Beast's perception ability is 3 times that of other creatures within the same realm. They became the most terrifying beings in the Foggy Sea. At first, the cultivators didn't take them seriously, and the crystal cores inside the Mist Beasts were rare treasures. It can not only help them offset some of the effects of the fog, but also serve as the core of illusion magic. However, 3,000 years ago, the Mist Beast King was born among the Mist Beasts. The birth of a celestial-level Mist Beast completely changed the landscape of Mist Beasts. Every appearance of a celestial-grade item triggers a bloodbath. As more and more creatures die in the Sea of Fog, the spiritual energy in the eastern region is now 3 times that of the central region. The most extraordinary opportunities in the world lie in the eastern region. This statement is not just empty talk. Thanks to the opportunities presented by the Misty Sea and Pengyun, cultivators frequently rise to prominence in Xiuxian, writing their own legends. Inside the Tower of Desire, in a small tavern called Jade Spirit. Is the Pengyun merchant ship auction about to begin? A pretty girl was leaning on the counter. She had only read about Pengyun auction in books left by her ancestors. The girl's name was Zhou Yun, and she was a descendant of Zhong Ho and Lin Suea. It's just unknown how many generations ago it was. After all, it's been tens of thousands of years. A cultivator jogged in from outside, carrying a jade slip in his hand. Gentlemen, the latest cloud and mist report has been released. The cultivators who were drinking and chatting in the tavern gathered around. The Cloud and Mist Report was jointly founded by the Muyun Pavilion and the Taixu Pavilion to summarize major events in the Xiuxian realm. It is usually released once every 10 years. What did they say? Nothing major should have happened in the last 10 years, right? I don't know, let's take a look. The cultivator placed the cloud-like report on the table and slowly unfolded it. Please be patient, everyone, take your time. Turning to Zhou Yun, he said, Boss, bring the drinks quickly. They're here. After serving the wine, Zhou Yun did not leave immediately but stood in the crowd. She was naturally very interested in the news in the Yunxia Daily. The first page is dominated by an image of the Pengyun merchant ship. Is it Pengyun merchant ship? What does that mean? The other cultivators scoffed. Are you blind? Didn't you see it? This is a preview of the Pengyun auction, which will be held in 1 year. A glint of inspiration flashed in the cultivators' eyes, their anticipation evident. All the cultivators present had only heard of the wonders of the Pengyun auction, but had never participated in it. It is said that many opportunities will arise at the Pengyun auction. 10,000 years ago, many cultivators rose to prominence thanks to the opportunities presented by Pengyun. They have all become very famous figures in Xiantian.